So how to install a TV is first you need a suitable bracket. These type are probably the best to use if you're using a TV, as they will just fit straight on the back of the TV. It will give you a guideline in the descriptions of most TV bracket companies. Now this is quite a sturdy bracket, so I'll just pop them down there for now. This one kit comes complete with a level and fixing plugs and also sturdy bolts, cable strap, that look of it. It's even got an HDMI lead as well, and a couple of brackets. I'm presuming this is for a larger TV, then you fit two brackets rather than just one. Tells you what tools are needed there: tape measure, pencil, electric drill, screwdriver, socket wrench, stud finder. Well, we're going on to a chimney breast here, so don't think I'm going to find anything in there. So yeah, definitely has a two bracket system, this. Like I said, I don't think we're going to need both the brackets on this because the TV just isn't big enough. It's a bit of overkill to put two on it. There's a TV at the back there, so these are the brackets, the wall plate. So, okay, right, yeah. We could put the whole section up, I suppose. Like I said, I've never fitted this type of bracket before. This is for larger TVs, though. I mean, you could just get away with one of those. We'll do it in both. So what we need to do is probably assemble this now. So there's some screws that came with it that attach these two together, these two pieces, and basically what we need to do is attach these two pieces together with these screws. Now I think there's one missing, not sure, but so this is the spare screw that was also in there. It's just too small for the hole, so probably we'll just leave that one out. Don't think it's going to need it as such. So what we need to do is find out where that goes on the wall now and make sure we've got it in the centre. Now as you can see, it's already had a TV bracket there before, which was very flimsy. So one of the things we need to do is make sure there's enough clearance underneath the TV to get the bracket so it doesn't sit on the sill, not the sill, the fire mantle piece there. So the best way of doing it is to measure the TV top to bottom, which is 23 inches. So we look at the 23-inch mark and we say, right, we need half of 23, which is 11.5 if I'm not mistaken. So we're round about there on the tape measure. So we know that the TV will drop 11.5 from the centre. Yeah, it's actually 190. So it's roughly where the logo is there. So we know that that's the centre. So you need 11.5 from the centre of that, so you roughly know where the TV is going. So all I'm going to do is basically use the hole that's already there as a centre point. So I've just quickly measured that is in the centre. I fitted this TV originally, so I do know it's probably in the centre. So what we do is we find the mark, we know where the centre of the bracket is, and we just offer that up. And then also what we need to do is make sure we have the clearance for the TV. So what we need to do is measure 11.5 inches from the centre of that bracket down to make sure there's enough clearance under here for all the bits and pieces that he puts there. So I've got that roughly where it should be in the centre, and making sure we've got enough clearance from the tape measure. So there's 11.5 just there, and if we zoom out now, so it should be enough clearance because there's all that stuff there on the seat that needs to go back on the mantelpiece. So we've got to put a clock back on and make sure there's enough clearance so it doesn't block the TV. So this should be just about the right height now. So what we can do now is just level it off and mark the holes. So using the level provided, now that's magnetic, that level, I've levelled it up. This one's a bit more, and then it should be alright. And then all I need to do is mark the holes and get them drilled. So there we go, I've used a DeWalt SDS battery operated drill to drill the holes, not bored you with any noisy drill action. I've drilled the holes where I've marked, and I've used this little pocket. This is the plastic bag that came out of the bracket box, the TV bracket box. So I've just used that, taped the edges up and used some masking tape, and what I've done is I've caught all the dust in a little pocket there. So although there's still a little bit of dust there, there's certainly more dust in the pocket there. Obviously the fan and everything on the drill makes it fire everywhere. So I'll just pop this down somewhere now. So I'm using the plugs provided with the bracket, just going to tap them in. Oh, by the way, I used a 10mm drill bit for this because they're 10mm plugs, and like I said, they are proper hex bolts, hex screws them. So you need a socket. If you haven't got a socket or an impact driver, I've got an impact driver, so I'm going to drive them in. So there we go, I've got all the bolts in the wall. So there's still a screw missing there, don't know where that one is, it wasn't in the bag, so they mustn't have put that in. So the next thing you need to do is sort your brackets out for the back of the TV. This is quite a simple job, hopefully. Now this has got the cables and everything already attached to the back, so I would advise making sure that all your wires and your leads are already attached before you mount it to the wall. You have 4 threaded holes there for the bolts. Usually in a pack you receive various sizes of bolts for things for mounting it, so you need to find out which one you need. Just take one out, try it, if it fits use it, if it doesn't, don't. There are, like I said, varying sizes of bolts, so I think it'll be this size here. This is the M6, fairly standard. So I've attached a bracket to the back of the seat, as you can see, TV, as you can see. These have a pull string at the bottom. And what that does is it just releases a catch so that you can attach it to the wall bracket. So we need these spacers for these. Now what these spacers do is they create a gap between the actual bracket and the TV, because on some TVs, I don't know whether you can see this clearly enough, but this is raised at the bottom, so the bracket won't fit on there correctly if you don't use the spacers. So that is what the spacers are for. So that's what you do, you use them for. So getting the correct washer and screw place a washer on the screw, get your bracket and your spacer, and you put the spacer through. And you start offering the screw in by hand so that it grips the threads inside the TV. Do not use power tools, impact drivers or anything just to speed the process up. You may damage the TV by doing this. You may strip the threads inside the TV that hold these screws in. And you don't want to do that. TVs are a purchase that a customer will have, and you know, you don't want to be replacing the TV at your expense. So again, placing the screw through the hole and the spacer lined up. Slide the spacer behind. Make sure you get the screw through the hole. So this needs to go down a little bit. It's not quite in line with the other one. You just need to undo that a bit. I think it needs to go up to the next hole, does it? Yeah. So we need to get that into the next hole. There we go. So you need to try and level the brackets up at the back as well. So I actually have a convenient line there, so I'm lining the holes up. Now let's say your bracket on the wall isn't level and it's slightly out. You can adjust these brackets at the back to compensate for that if you haven't got it level. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Like I said earlier in the video, make sure all your power leads and leads that you need to attach are attached to the TV first. And then you're not having to fiddle around from the back. Now, on his previous TV, he had a SCART lead here. And very noticeably, there's no SCART leads or anything to plug in from that side. So what I'll do is I'll attach all the leads, then I'll start mounting it to the bracket. So there's the TV on the wall, and it looks pretty good. It's got on alright. As you can see, the wires are still showing here. Now the previous TV was the same, so customers not too bothered about that, but I would advise trying to tidy the wires up if you're planning on doing this. You can get trunking relatively cheap. It's got quite a good grip. These were the pull cords that I mentioned. You pull them and it unclips the bracket at the back so you can take the TV off. As you see, it's got quite a good strong sturdy grip of the bracket behind. Just turn the light off. Has that made it any better? No. Anyway, so there you go. That's how you fit a TV. That's just the basic version. If you're wanting like media walls or anything like that doing, then you have to obviously spend a bit more money on and a bit more thought on what you want to do. So yeah, there you go. Job done.